Okay, after getting to understand how data can be structured, unstructured data, the tools that we can actually use to actually get data, we need to understand data type and data format. These are basic questions which we need to get to know as data analysis, especially as professionals. Some people actually go for interviews and they ask this kind of questions and be like, what's the difference? So, and then this will actually help when we actually start our analysis. Like the first one, data type, is very important because when you prepare your data after you are done cleaning, the preparation and the cleaning are like twin. Should I say twin? Not twin. Let me say, like, when you are preparing it and preparation and cleaning, let me say, are they twin? The like, it's not twin, is like a process before another. Now, when you are preparing this data type, basically, it is very needed, and you have to understand them. Unless if you don't understand them, basically, there are some things you actually run, there are queries you will write, some things you actually do on Excel sheets, on Google Sheet. It will not work. Why? Because they are not in the right data type. I want us to understand this before we go into deep practical aspects. Now, I'm laying this foundation so that if we can get this soaked into our, so that when we start doing those operations, when we are using our Excel, when you're using your Power BI and stuff, I'll show us those tools. You will not be confused because that's something you will do. Be like, it's not working, but you have forgotten the basics of what is needed. Now, let's treat this data type, data format. Data type. Please take note. Now, this refers to the kind of data that is represented. Example of data type: we have string, we have integer, we have float, we have boolean, we have date and time. Basically, we have date and time. You get. Now, I'm going to repeat that. In the next slide, I'm going to telling us the example. I'll show us the example. But I want us to mention data type. We have string, integer, float, boolean. Now, and date and time. Now, let's say string. If you can say that time is string is text. Why? Integers are whole numbers. Integers, normally mathematics, integers are whole number. Now, floating data type or floating data types are decimal numbers. They are decimal number, meaning that when you have variables, you will understand when we are using our data set. Now, when we have variables like the x and y, the one on the left and on the right, basically, when we have example like a name, it's going to be written in text. So, when you want to set up your data set during cleaning and preparation, you must place every data set according to the nature of that data set. I repeat myself again, you need to place your data set according to the nature of that data set, unless it won't run. For example, the data set like that, and then we have different countries. There is a way you're going to. I'll show us all those things. That's for data type. Now, for data format, this also refers to how the data is presented or structured, especially when stored or displayed. Now, example includes a date like 12/04/2025, then having a date of 2025, 04/12. Now, if you look at this data set, basically, if you look at this data, you will see that the format is different. So, data type is different from data format. The data type is how your values, your kind of value, the nature. Why format is how you bring it, just as if you are arranging your name, your first name, last name, then your middle name, and they say, okay, first name first, then they put last name first, surname first. You understand? So that is the format. You understand? So sometimes sometimes you miss some data like that you need to change the format. For example, a number shown as 1000. If you look at this number, it is shown in decimal. 1000, we have 2 zeros after the dot. It's still 1000, and there is a comma there. Then we have another one that is written 1000. It is the same type, but it is a different format. Same type, but it's different format. If you're going to place this one can be placed on integer or number. Now the first one, the date too, it has both it's a date type but different formats too. Now let's go to the phone numbers. Now most of the time phone numbers is written like this so that we can actually identify the country involved. Now we have +234-81. This means Nigeria, like that. Now sometimes the date format might be written as 070, things like that, like 0708081 okay. So you have to understand all this type. Now look at this one. This one is a string format, is a string type, then is a phone format. Then we now have file format. I was talking to us about the format before. We have different file format. Now note the word file. File is a compressed data. When you have your data stored, a structured data in Excel, we can have it as CSV. Most of the time we use CSV. We have it as .csv, .json, .xml. All these ones are file formats. We'll be meeting like XL, XX, different. We are going to be meeting different formats like that. So when you want to save your stuff, you save them on format. Just as if when you have Microsoft Word, you have it as TXT, and then PPT for PowerPoint, like that. So we have to understand all this format so that we would not be confused while working with our data set. So let's move on to the next slide. We have a lot of things to do, but in all these things I want us to totally understand the basics, because when we start for the next class, we start deep practicals. Now let's move on to the next slide. I think I did not mention Boolean the other time, but we have Boolean here where we have true or false. Now I'll be giving us the example. I will not waste much time here. Now data type example, if you look at it, the field here we have name. For example, I'm saying the variable now, that's the field. Now sometimes you might have data sets where you have your customer ID, your customer name, you get. Then we have the age of the person, or probably let's say this is a data set that actually talks about a student. Now in the field on their variables, we have the name, we have age, we have height, we have if the person is a student or not, you get. Then we have birthday date, we have gender, we have notes. Now take note of all these things, because this actually matters. Because if I said the other time, if your data type is not set, like the nature is not being put on your tool, there are some things you will not be able to do, because it will not work. It won't work. So you have to understand this data type, so that when you see them, you can actually say, okay, this data type basically is this one is string, this one is integer. So when I want to analyze, I will prepare it like this. Now let's go into this one. Name of a person. Any name you see is string. For example, Feyi is string. Solomon, David, James, you get. Now age is integer, whole number, 20, 30, 40, whole number. But when you have something like decimal points, those are floating numbers basically, like 7.634, 3.142, they are floating numbers. So you need to set another set like that. Then we have Boolean true or false. Boolean true or false. Then we have date like 20, 25, 10, 12, like that. Then we have gender, we have categorical data. Those are categorical data where we have male or female gender. Then we have text. Text too can be the same thing as string actually. Then we have I love you. So That is that on the examples. That's it. So as we go on, you will get to meet them and meet some little changes you understand better. Now, so let's move on to the next one. Now, okay, we know data is a raw fact. We know data is a raw fact. That is true. But I've been mentioning data set. I know most of you might be thinking data set. What's data set? Now, I want to explain. Data set is a collection of data that is typically organized in a structured way. You collect them using like our collection tools. You get organized in a structured way. Often it is in rows and columns, basically, because I'm going to be using it on spreadsheets or probably in Power Query, things like that. You get. So now each row represents a record of observation, while each column represents variable or attribute. Then we have to know this about data sets. Rows basically are like the observations, while columns are basically like the variable. For example, for columns we have age, name, price, and all like that. Now note, a data set can be stored in various formats like spreadsheet, database, or CSV files. So we now understand that data set is a collection of data in a structured way. Okay, so let's move on. I just gave us the basic information about data sets. Some of you might be like, data set, is it from heaven? Is it from now, apart from getting your data set primarily by questionnaire or take like researchers like that, people get data sets from different sources. Number one, from website. I think I've mentioned it. Websites for free for various topics including health, finance, and education, like a public data repository online that are free. For example, some of them that are free, they are like Cargo. Cargo is like a place where you can get data for analysis, you get for competitions on various topics. We'll be checking through that too. Then we have UI machine learning repository to get it. We have data.gov. It's a US government site providing access to a variety of public data sets. Then we have open data portal by World Bank for economic and financial development data like that. We have GitHub where people actually make research and drop data sets like that. Then we have other ones like that. Other ones can be published documents online. The ones, although some are free, some might not be free. Some might be by the government, some might be from free published sites. But note this: if you are going to be doing a real life project, there are some places like that you might not have access to their data. Some might have access to their data. But if you're working with the companies like that, most of them they actually store their data inside the database. So let's move on. Yes, this is very, very important. Yeah, apart from you getting it from published, we said the other time that you can actually get it through survey and questionnaires by Google Forms like that, primary source of data. Now, this other one method of getting data is called web scraping. There's a page, there's a method like that called web scraping. That one we get to know things about it. Although you must follow guidelines and terms of service. You cannot just go to a site and scrape data. No. That is why we have sites that can actually give you those data you need. So you cannot just go and scrape this place. No. But you get more understanding about web scraping when we move on.